20 Hwers. Things you absolutely have to do in Tanzania. Most people think a trip to Africa is just about sitting in a dusty jeep and looking at a lion through binoculars. But if that is all you do in Tanzania, you are missing out on about 90% of the magic. If you have ever dreamed of standing on top of the world or swimming in water so blue it looks like a phone screen, you are looking at the right country. But you need a real plan to see the parts most tourists walk right past. Tanzania is a massive country in East Africa, and it is way more than just a place for a quick safari. We are talking about deep jungles where chimpanzees swing through the trees, white sand beaches that feel like powdered sugar between your toes, and ancient tribes that still live exactly like their ancestors did thousands of years ago. In this video, I am going to break down the 20 best things to do so you can plan the trip of a lifetime without wasting a single second. We will look at the famous spots everyone knows, but I will also show you the hidden corners that will make your friends back home incredibly jealous. By the time we are done, you will know exactly where to go, what to eat, and how to avoid the big mistakes most travelers make when they land in Dar es Salaam or Arusha. The Wild North and the Great Migration. The first thing on almost everyone's list is the Serengeti National Park. You have probably seen it on nature shows, but being there is totally different. The smell of the grass, the heat of the sun, and the sheer scale of the place will blow your mind. The big draw here is the Great Migration. This is when over 1 million wildebeest and hundreds of thousands of zebras move across the plains looking for fresh grass. If you time it right, usually around June or July, you can see them cross the Mara River. It is intense. There are crocodiles waiting in the water, and the lions are hiding in the tall grass on the other side. It is nature at its most raw. You aren't just watching a movie, you are sitting in the middle of the action. While you are in the Serengeti, you have to do a hot air balloon safari. It is expensive, I won't lie to you. But waking up at 4 in the morning to float over the savannah as the sun comes up is something you will never forget. You see the shadows of giraffes stretching across the ground and watch hippos splashing in the pools from high above. It is dead quiet up there, except for the occasional blast of the burner. When you land, they usually have a champagne breakfast waiting for you in the middle of the bush. It makes you feel like an old-school explorer from 100 years ago. Next up is the Ngorongoro Crater. Imagine a giant volcano that collapsed in on itself millions of years ago, creating a natural bowl that is 12 miles wide. Inside that bowl is a perfect ecosystem. Because the walls are so high, many animals stay inside the crater year-round. It is the best place in the country to see the black rhino, which is very hard to find elsewhere. You can see the big five: lion, leopard, elephant, buffalo, and rhino, all in a single afternoon. It is like a natural zoo, but there are no fences. Just remember to bring a jacket. Even though you are in Africa, the rim of the crater is very high up, and it gets freezing cold at night and in the early morning. Giru, the land of giants and tree lions. If you love elephants, you have to spend a few days in Ngorongoro National Park. This place is famous for two things: massive herds of elephants and giant baobab trees. These trees look like they were planted upside down with their roots sticking up into the air. Some of them are over 1,000 years old. During the dry season, elephants gather around the Ngorongoro River, and you can see hundreds of them at once. They use their tusks to dig into the baobab trees to get water from the bark. It is a rugged, beautiful park that feels a bit more wild and less crowded than the Serengeti. Not far from there is Lake Manyara National Park. This place is famous for its tree-climbing lions. Usually, lions stay on the ground, but for some reason, the lions here love to hang out on the branches of acacia trees. Scientists think they do it to get away from the biting flies on the ground or to catch a cool breeze. It is a strange sight to see a huge male lion dangling its paws off a tree limb like a common house cat. The park also has a massive soda lake filled with thousands of pink flamingos. It looks like a giant pink cloud sitting on the water. Standing on the roof of Africa, for the adventurers out there, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro is the ultimate challenge. It is the highest freestanding mountain in the world. You don't need ropes or special climbing gear, but you do need a lot of mental toughness. It takes about 5 to 9 days, depending on the route you take. You start in a humid rainforest with monkeys screaming in the trees, and by the end, you are walking through a frozen, volcanic desert to reach Uhuru Peak. The hardest part isn't the walking, it is the thin air. You have to go pole, which is Swahili for slowly. If you rush, the altitude will get you. Standing at the top and watching the sunrise over the clouds is a feeling of pride that is hard to put into words. If Kilimanjaro sounds a bit too big for you, try climbing Mount Meru instead. It is right next door in Arusha National Park. It is still a tough climb, but it only takes 3 or 4 days. The best part is that you get amazing views of Kilimanjaro from across the valley. Plus, because it's inside a national park, you have to hike with an armed ranger because there are buffaloes and giraffes on the lower slopes. It is a much more intimate, wild experience than the big mountain. Ser, the magic of the Zanzibar archipelago. After all that dusty safari work and mountain climbing, you are going to want to hit the beach. And there is no better place than Zanzibar. The main island is called Unguja, but everyone just calls it Zanzibar. You have to start in Stone Town. This is the old historic part of the city. It is a maze of narrow alleys where you will definitely get lost, but that is the point. You will see massive carved wooden doors, smell cloves and cinnamon in the air, and hear the call to prayer from the mosques. Go to the Forodhani Gardens at night for the street food market. Try the Zanzibar pizza, which is more like a stuffed crepe, and get some fresh sugarcane juice. Once you've had your fill of history, head north to Nungwi and Kendwa. These are the best beaches on the island because the tide doesn't go out for miles like it does on the east coast. The water is turquoise, the sand is white, and the vibes are relaxed. You can take a traditional wooden boat called a dhow out for a sunset cruise. Watching the white triangular sails catch the wind as the sun drops into the Indian Ocean is the perfect way to end a day. While you are on the island, take a spice tour. Zanzibar is known as the Spice Island for a reason. You can visit farms and see how things like vanilla, nutmeg, black pepper, and cloves grow. It is actually really cool to see that a pineapple grows on the ground and that cinnamon is actually the bark of a tree. You will get to taste everything fresh, and usually the guides will weave you a hat or a bag out of palm leaves while you walk. Secrets of the deep and remote islands. If you want to escape the crowds, head to Mafia Island. Most people haven't even heard of it, which is why it is so great. The big draw here is swimming with whale sharks. These are the biggest fish in the ocean, the size of a school bus, but they are gentle giants that only eat tiny plankton. Sliding into the water and seeing one of these massive spotted creatures glide past you is humbling. Mafia is also home to some of the best coral reefs in Africa, making it a dream for scuba divers. Then there is Pemba Island. This is Zanzibar's sister island, but it is much greener and much quieter. They call it the Green Island. It is famous for its hills covered in clove trees and its incredible deep-sea diving. There are almost no big resorts here, just small eco-lodges. It is the place to go if you want to feel like you have the whole ocean to yourself. It is rugged, authentic, and very peaceful. Saxer, tracking our closest relatives. Most people don't think of jungles when they think of Tanzania, but in the west, along the shores of Lake Tanganyika, you will find Gamba Stream National Park. This is where Jane Goodall did her famous research on chimpanzees. It is one of the smallest parks in the country, and you can only get there by boat. You hike through the forest with a guide to find the chimps. Hearing them scream and pant-hoot through the trees before you see them will give you goosebumps. Watching them interact, playing, grooming, and sometimes even fighting, is like looking into a mirror of human behavior. If Gombe is too small for you, go to the Mahal Mountains. This is even more remote. There are no roads, no cars, and no electricity in the camps. It is just the forest, the mountains, and the crystal clear water of the lake. The chimpanzee population here is larger, and the setting is even more dramatic. After a long day of trekking through the jungle, you can jump into Lake Tanganyika to cool off. It is the longest and second deepest freshwater lake in the world, and it feels more like an ocean than a lake. Crest, the wild south, and rugged wilderness. The northern parks get all the fame, but the southern circuit is where the real explorers go. Ngorongoro National Park, which used to be called Selous, is massive. It's actually larger than Switzerland. Because the Rufiji River flows through it, you can do boat safaris here. Instead of just sitting in a car, you are on the water, drifting past hippos and massive crocodiles. It is a much quieter way to see wildlife, and the bird life is incredible. Even further south is Arusha National Park. This is a tough, rugged place with red earth and giant baobabs. It is famous for having a huge population of lions. If you want to see a pride of 20 lions lounging on a dry riverbed, this is the place. Because it is so hard to get to, you will hardly see any other jeeps. It feels like you have the entire African continent to yourself. If you are a true fanatic for the off-the-beaten-path experience, you need to go to Katavi. This park is only for the brave because it takes a long time to get there. But in the dry season, the water holes dry up, and thousands of hippos and crocodiles are forced into the same small pools. It is chaotic, loud, and amazing to watch. It is one of the last truly untouched wilderness areas left on Earth. Seer, culture, rocks, and pink lakes. Tanzania isn't just about animals. It is about the people. You should definitely spend time learning about the Maasai. They are the famous warriors who wear bright red robes and beautiful beadwork. While some cultural bomas near the big parks can feel a bit like a tourist trap, if you find a reputable guide, you can have a real conversation about their nomadic lifestyle and how they live in harmony with wild animals. For something even more unique, visit the Hadzabe tribe near Lake Eyasi. They are one of the last true hunter-gatherer tribes in the world. They speak a Click language and don't grow crops or keep livestock. You can go out with them in the morning as they hunt for birds or honey. It is a powerful reminder of how humans lived for tens of thousands of years. It is not a show, it is their actual life, and being invited to witness it is a huge honor. Near the border of Kenya, you will find Lake Natron. This is a soda lake, meaning the water is extremely alkaline. It is so harsh that most animals can't go near it, but it is the only breeding ground for East Africa's lesser flamingos. The water often turns a bright red or orange color because of the salt-loving organisms that live in it. In the background is Oldoinyo Lengai, an active volcano that the Maasai call the Mountain of God. It is a surreal, alien-looking landscape that looks like it belongs on another planet. Finally, for the history buffs, check out the Kondoa rock art sites. There are hundreds of caves decorated with ancient paintings of people, animals, and hunts. Some of these are thousands of years old. It is a quiet, spiritual place that doesn't get many visitors, but it tells the story of the people who walked this land long before any of us were here. The big challenge of Tanzania. Now, here is the problem. Tanzania is huge, and the roads can be rough. A lot of people try to do too much in one trip. They think they can see the Serengeti, climb Kili, and relax in Zanzibar all in 1 week. You can't. If you try, you will spend your entire vacation sitting in a car or a tiny plane. The African time is real. Things move slower here. Flights get delayed, roads get washed out by rain, and sometimes the lions just don't want to come out and say hello. The key to a great Tanzanian trip is to pick one region and dive deep. Don't rush. If you are in the Serengeti, stay an extra day just to watch the grass blow in the wind. If you are in Zanzibar, spend a whole afternoon just drinking coffee with the locals in Stone Town. The real beauty of this country isn't just in the big sights. It is in the moments where nothing is happening at all. Tanzania will change the way you see the world if you let it. It is a place where nature still rules, where the stars are brighter than you ever thought possible, and where people have very little but will offer you everything. Whether you are staring into the eyes of a lion or sharing a meal with a spice farmer, you will realize that this is a place that stays in your heart long after the dust has been washed off your boots. Check our video descriptions for the best deals in hotels and accommodation, flights, attractions and tours, travel eSIMs and insurance, transfers and airport services, trains and buses, car and bike rentals, cruises, package tours,